I was a kid, my dad would read Conan the Barbarian or Tarzan or John Carter of Mars to me. And one of the things in this, there were spears and swords and axes, and there were dragons and tharks and bad guys and good guys. And I was enamored by the weaponry. I thought the weaponry they were using, I would listen to the details of that, and I thought that was fascinating. And that led me into wanting to make, I wanted to make stuff with edges. I didn't care if it was a knife or a sword or a dagger or spear. Over time, that kind of refined itself into being more focused into something that I could use every day. We're not born with fangs and claws, so tools. Civilized people use tools, and that's why I like to make knives. So I make knives because I enjoy the process. I was inspired to make knives from fantastical tales and stories, and I made those fantastical tales and stories real. So over time, I was searching for these, the elusive bladesmith, which was really difficult to find back in those days, back in the early 80s. And I learned a little bit about making knives by grinding. I didn't know anything about forging. And then I learned how to forge in 2001, and instantly that was all I did after that. I never went back to doing other jobs. I never did anything else but make knives and forge blades. I like to talk about forging being my art. Forging is my art. I love that process the most out of all of it. I love the design. And I think back, sometimes I'll go back and read like Lord of the Rings, or I'll read John Carter of Mars, and I'll develop a new idea. I was like, I wonder what that sword looked like. I wonder what that knife looked like. And mostly I make chef's knives and kitchen knives, but I still am inspired by the story. I love the story. The story inspires me to go make something new. That helps me develop my own style. So I've also developed a very unique style. It's funny now because of the internet, so many people don't know where it came from, but all the OGs know. And what I mean by that is the knife makers who I was kind of inspired by. I don't make their style. I don't do what they do. I made my own style. It's kind of accentuated by curves. A lot of people will call it the shark fin, or I was inspired by that one little subtle thing. I do a bunch of things on a knife, but one of them is the raised clip on a blade. And I was inspired by the fish hooks and designs from the Maori and Pacific Islanders and 57 Chevys. And I just liked the way it added just something subtle that was useful and sexy on the knife. And the truth about developing a style is it is built on subtlety. You build your own style, whether it's art or music, by adding a subtlety into the notes, into the style, into the line, into the sculpture. You just add a little subtle thing. It's like, man, I like that. I don't know why, and then you just add more, and you use that same formula, add it different places. It will work over and over again. As you progress, it'll refine itself. It'll become more sleek, more subtle, even more simple. And people will see it and like it, and people will hear it and like it. Either way. You develop your own style by not looking at what everybody else is doing, but reaching in other directions and adding subtleties.